What is going on? Man, so many backgrounds. Let's see. Figure it out now. Cool. All right. Welcome to this week's Ask Me Anything. Um, you guys can type in the chat here any questions that you have, and I will go ahead and bring you forward. So I see Caesar, I see Jeremy, I see Rick as well. So let's bring you guys forward. I'm just gonna bring you guys into the webinar section here, and that way we can go ahead get started. All right, cool. Let's see. Cesar, let's bring you in, brother. Mo to pal, allowed to talk. Well, you can just talk, right? What's up, Caesar? How you doing today? Can you hear me? If you can. He's
Hello?
playing.
I can hear you now. How you
Hey,
doing?
what's going on, man?
Oh,
Good.
nothing much.
How you been?
Good, you?
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, welcome to the Ask Me Anything. This is just a check-in call and a weekly call. We're gonna do these weekly just to answer any questions. There's a lot of content there in the WiFiFlips University, and I want to make sure that people are not stuck. I'm still kind of getting used to this new format, so apologies for maybe the stuttering or the stumbling, but we'll get to figure it out, right? So let's see here, Caesar. Where are you calling from, brother? Still there? Hello?
Yeah, it sounded like you were freezing.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Cool, man. So what question you got, man?
On your PPC, you said you run the broad and the exact and the phrase all in one altogether?
On pay per click?
Yeah, pay per click.
Yeah. Did you go through which one did you go through? The set your Google ads in 3 hours or less?
Yeah, that
Okay.
one.
Yeah, I mean, you want to start broad. The thing with pay per click, I don't recommend you guys starting off there right off the bat. I actually rather you guys do pay per lead first, because the issue with pay per click is you got to let the account mature, and you have no guarantees that they're actually going to be leads, like good leads coming in, right? So what's your marketing budget right now?
Right now, I think I have it for 50 a day on the PPC.
50 per day?
Yeah, one, and then the one where I'm testing keywords up, I have that one at 25.
Okay. And so what's your results so far?
I got two leads in yesterday. I
Okay.
got a one came in you called me like at 11 o'clock at night last night.
Yeah.
And then I got another one, got to call him back today and with the offer.
Okay. So good, two good leads.
Yeah,
Two actually,
yeah.
not like spam or
No,
real
no, two good
estate
leads.
wholesalers. Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
how long have you been running that campaign for?
Uh, I think about probably about a month or so.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know what market are you in? Are you in California?
I'm in California,
Okay.
in Ohio, and the other one was in Oregon.
Good. Okay. So, I mean, advertising is about what your cost per deal is. Have you closed any deals yet?
Yeah, the last one I closed was in when the heck was it? In Elkton, Maryland.
Okay. So you're going broad. You're going into multiple states.
Yeah, right now I am until I get some data in my account, and then I'll start narrowing it down.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, so if you're in it, you don't mind the dashboard and you don't mind updating the negative keywords, then really the question is, what is your return on ad spend?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the key question. I mean, I'll tell you,
Uh-huh.
anything that's giving us less than six return on ad spend, we cut off.
6X?
Yeah, 6x. That's what we do in my business, right? So
Okay.
I can only share what we do. And so the thing is, a lot of times people get into the weeds of whether we run Facebook ads, we run pay per lead, we throw on pay per click. The issue is not knowing your numbers.
Yeah.
So, do you know what your cost per lead is? Do you know how many leads you got to talk to? Do you have an idea?
N no, I haven't been tracking nothing, man. I'm gonna start doing that.
I'll tell you my numbers. Our numbers are 30, we want to see a closing every 30 leads.
Every 30? Okay.
Closing. What does that
Yeah.
mean? You could be running a campaign and get 60 to 90 leads in, and it's not till the last 2 to 3 leads that you actually get a closing.
Yeah.
And you may get a contract every 15, right? You may get a contract every 15, but contracts do fall through because of title issues, because you misread the market, all that jazz.
Yeah.
So my first thing whenever I'm trying a new media out is I just call it media. You have to be kind of like unemotional about all this and just try one at a time and figure out does it meet the benchmarks or not. And then it's about putting different fishing poles out there. So I've got my paper lead running here. I got my Facebook ads running here. I got my pay per click running here. And then you start seeing, okay, I'm going to double down on this one because this one's really giving me my return on ad spend. You see, marketing is a constant engineering thing. It's like a constant scientific method thing. So I'll share you with you guys later in the community, a dashboard that we're working on. But essentially, the numbers that you want to be able to track, and this is for everybody in the room, is you want to be able to track cost per. I'm going to call it cost per opt-in because sometimes the opt-ins are wholesalers, sometimes they're realtors. So, what's your cost per opt-in if you're running any sort of inbound lead generation, right? And then how many leads you have to talk to get a contract? And then how many leads you have to talk to get a closing. And based on that, you just keep doing what's good and cut off what's bad. I will also say you want to look at your data at a minimum of 3 month time span. You don't
Okay.
want to be cutting off stuff too quick because it is a slower sales process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, when you say cutting off quick, say you're testing out a new keyword, how long do you let it run and how much, or what's your budget or months
Well,
or
I
how
mean, if I
long do you
know,
let it
if I
run?
know, if I know by history that my cost per closing is anywhere between, on the low side, 1450, 1,450 bucks per closing, and on the high side, I'm at 4,500 cost per closing. This will vary by market, right? But if you're telling me that you're having to spend $10,000 to get a closing, then I'm gonna be concerned because that may be a systems issue or a sales issue. So when do I cut it off? Well, I go and say, okay, on this keyword, how much have I spent and what is my cost per lead right now? Is my cost per lead running at 300 when the rest of them are running at 70 or at 125? Why would I keep it at 300 if the cost per lead is that high? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Right now I'm not running no broad. I tried one last week and it was just bringing in a lot of just crazy keywords. So right now I'm just
Yeah.
running broad and exact. Not broad, I mean exact and phrase is what I'm running it at.
Do you have an idea what your cost per opt-in is? Your cost
I
per lead?
haven't been tracking nothing at
Yeah.
all. But I'm
I'm
gonna
looking at my
start.
dashboard right now. I mean, my lowest cost per lead is 56 bucks. My highest one is about 159, and I cut that ad set out. On Facebook, it runs me anywhere between 125 to 150. It went up this year. Um, so with that said, you need to track your numbers so you know what to double down on,
Okay.
right? You have data, you have closed the deal. So how much did you make in that deal? 10 grand,
Uh,
20 grand, 50 grand?
30, 34, and I spent 2 grand to move out the lady, and then I think I spent like 2 grand on ads.
Okay. So, 4 to 5 grand cost per closing. And you got, what is that? A six right there. You got about a six time ROAS. You spent five, you got 30 something.
Yeah,
So, that to me is kind of what you want to stick at, because what I try to preach in our university here is build it so that you can actually scale it. It's very hard to scale an outbound operation. I haven't done it, so I can't preach to something that I haven't done, right? But when you start hiring closers that actually close your deals, and you start hiring coordinators so that you can work on this business, 1 or 2 hours a day and just lead them and approve
yeah,
contracts, inbound is the way to go, because they already have intent to sell.
yeah.
I don't know if that helps, but yeah, man. I mean, so right now you already have a baseline. You have a campaign that works. Now it's about optimizing it. So it's about adding more negative keywords, and then
Yeah.
maybe split testing whatever landing page you got. I mean, that's pretty much the name of the game.
Okay. How much are you spending on your retargeting on Facebook?
You don't have to do much. I didn't, on retargeting, we don't get that much action. So $10 a day is fine.
Okay.
Our sellers are erratic. We're like literally herding squirrels. So it's not that it's not worth it, but in my opinion, it's something that you kind of just do, but you may not even be able to spend more than that, because the amount of people that you're retargeting shouldn't be huge. So 10 to 20 bucks a day should be just fine.
Okay. What about can you do the same thing with TikTok? I haven't started it. I'm just barely I haven't had time to look into it, but can you retarget on TikTok too, like with Facebook?
Yeah, you can retarget on all of them. It's all like the same process, honestly.
Okay.
Uh, I'm not really heavy on TikTok myself. I've kind of dabbled with it, but I haven't really doubled down on it. Um, but all these ad platforms, you can definitely retarget.
Okay.
So, yeah, man. All right, cool. Well, Cesar, I'll talk to you later. Let me get to Jeremy, since our time is
Cool.
limited. Is that
Thank you.
awesome, man? Thank you. What's up, Jeremy?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Good to see you. Good to hear you.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see here. So, thank you for posting your question here. So, boots on the ground. I was actually just talking with my guys around this. What's the main bottleneck in terms of the boots on the ground? What exactly is the issue? Is like really remote areas, or what's going on?
Um, so we're doing good. I guess maybe it's even the root issue that so we've got SEO going. That's like our main thing. And it's
Okay.
doing really good, but we are getting counties that are hyper targeted that were, like Seattle kind of area. And then we've got good agents there, but then I'll get one where it's a good lead, but it's a one-off, and then it's in kind of a random area that we don't have a network in. And
Mhm.
I'm just wondering, should I just be consistently networking with agents and finding the cream of the crop? Because right now it's like, like you said in the last bit of your call, dealing with these sellers is like herding cats. But now it's like, oh, now I'm dealing with realtors and it's like herding cats. And our number one thing being SEO is that we're branded, and these people are contacting us for high level of service. And then I'm having to wing sometimes getting a realtor in there. And I thought they were good based on my initial interview with them, and then they're blowing it, or they're
Mhm.
running, just all the things that anybody can do to make you look bad, from running late to over promising, under delivering, those types of things. And so I'm licensed in most of these counties too. And I've gone as far as, for our listings, like I'm listing one completely virtually tomorrow.
Yep.
I've I listed another one completely virtually, and I'm being transparent with these sellers because I'm basically cutting out these agents because it's so hard to find good people unless I'm having a limited belief system. But I'm just wondering like what you guys might be doing for virtual markets, because I know you're doing virtual. Um
Yeah,
that yeah,
people suck.
yeah. It's
People suck.
hard.
People suck. So let me tell you a little bit of maybe what changed since we last worked together and spoke, right? So the structure is the following. We have acquisition closers. All they do is talk with sellers and get them to sign a purchase and sales agreement. This is kind of what we're going to go really deep on this next monthly workshop called the Equity Protection Program. It's kind of like Novations, but with an attorney. In fact, you've probably heard of it since I know you're pretty active in different communities. But what I do that maybe I don't know how other people do it, but what I do is I have my acquisition closers and their entire job, and they're virtual by the way. They're in El Salvador, Mexico, Colombia, and all they do is phone sales. They're getting them. They're helping the sellers qualify for a cash out sale. Now, as we know, the market has shifted. It's trending down. So cash buyers want to buy this low, sellers still kind of want this high. And so typically the low ball cash offer and the assignment type of numbers just doesn't work for nobody. And so we end up switching over to, okay, well, maybe this number doesn't work. The low ball cash offer, your 60, 65, 70, whatever cents on the dollar. And we pivot to say, okay, what if we can get you close to what you would net? Otherwise, we just need to go ahead and list it. And we call that the equity protection program because we just kind of burn the bridges for the other wholesalers that are coming after us. We're saying, hey, listen, at the end of the day, you talk with other 10 wholesalers, they're probably going to be at or lower than we are. I'd love to try and get you what you're wanting. We're going to list it. And what we do is we make our money from the buyer. We make our money from the buyer, not from you. We get on a fixed price and we manage the qualification. We help them get qualified and get to the closing table. But you would not believe the amount of deals that fall through because the wife did not like the carpet. They didn't like the countertops. They didn't like the kitchen. They didn't like the bathrooms. They didn't blah, 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 blah. So instead of wasting your time with the other 10 wholesalers, why don't we just start the process and protect your equity? Okay. With that pretense, we don't use agents for our field work. We literally use a flat fee service. We use, for the most part, brokerless is who we use. You have to have the right paperwork, which I don't have it posted on the community yet. We're going to dive deep into that on the next monthly workshop. But I don't use agents for our field work. I literally just do flat fee listing, and my coordinators. So what I was saying is, in our staff, we got closers and we got coordinators. I figured out after many years that the dispo process can be streamlined 100% by virtual staff, by virtual team members. You don't need like a senior dispo manager, at least in my opinion, because if the deal's good enough and the pictures are good enough, and we also do the Matterport and the inspection report, we literally build a buyer agent packet for the buyer agents that are looking at the property that are showing it. We tell our sellers that we're going to have field agents walk through to help the buyers pick out their finishes, pick out their financing, pick out all this stuff. We've already done the inspection. We already pay for the Matterport. I've sold plenty of houses without buyers ever even looking at the house in person because we've had the Matterport, the inspection report, the pictures, everything's right there. It's at the right price. We price it below market on purpose because I don't want one offer. I want two offers so that I can get them bid up. So with that said, I do everything virtually. When we get a property under contract, what we're doing is we're Googling handyman. We're using Thumbtack. We're using Craigslist. We're using, what's the other one? I think it's Thumbtack. And we're just Googling handymans. And the handymans are the ones that set the lock boxes. If we need to do a trash out, we get them to do the trash out. So that's why I started asking Jeremy, like, what are you using these agents for? Precisely because I don't have a need for an agent to list on the MLS. There's already other ways about listing it. So what were you using these agents for? To do like the showings and try to market the property for you?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm hearing you. I haven't really transitioned to novations. We just list them like agents because I'm licensed. So it's just been simple that way. I'm open to novations. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the agents, we're having them go do initial walkthroughs a lot of the time and get pictures and meet with the sellers and like getting that's where
No.
we're
Yeah.
really struggling right now. Is like this, I locked up one yesterday and I'm having the seller send me pictures and then I'll just send them a contract. But a lot of the time in these higher end markets, they're like, yeah, we want somebody to come meet with us.
Mm-hmm.
And or we've got 4 other wholesalers coming to meet with us. So if you're not going to come meet with us, then kick rocks. We're not
Yeah.
going to accept an offer without you meeting you type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. Virtual has its advantages and disadvantages. Um, it's not every day that we get a difficult seller. Typically, when they are that difficult, like they're trying to control the transaction, they're gonna be a pain in the ass, and I don't even want to deal with them, to be
Mhm.
frank with you. Like that's just there's more people ahead, there's more leads ahead. At least how we have it set up. With that said, we contract first, due diligence later. And we say, hey, uh we want to be proactive, we want to be effective. We can't really get our trains moving towards closing if we don't have a contract. And some people go for it, some people don't go for it. And that's okay. Right? I'm not trying to, I've seen it both ways. I've done local when I used to have a home investor franchise, and I would get people canceling me on my way to their house all the time. So there's pros and there's cons to both. I guess you have to make peace with the fact that there are going to be some sellers that are just going to be difficult to deal with. And if they're trying to impose, at least my experience has been that when they're trying to control and impose their will and how the deal flows, they're not going to allow me to do what I need to do to actually get the deal closed. And so that is kind of the conviction that we have when we deal with these sellers virtually. We contract first, do the diligence later. Um, there's a lot of information you can find out by just having a good conversation with these sellers, but we don't try to do the due diligence before we get the contract. We get the contract first and we do the due diligence later.
Yeah. And I've done a lot of that. I guess maybe what I'm trying to do is, like you said, I got to make peace with the model of, do I want, because I've got this really good thing going now with SEO, but it's statewide. And then I'm like, man, should I just, be more hyper localized? Because maybe that'd be simpler if I just either myself or hire an acquisitions person to go on these appointments. So maybe it's a control issue or an ego issue where I'm like, yeah, I'll close 1 in 10, 1 in 15 contracts, but now I'm trying to, everybody's feeling it, the market shift right now. It's like, okay, well, how do I close more? Is it just getting people out there in front of them and then I have a couple really good agents, but then because they're so good, they get so busy. And then it's hard to, rely on them because they're commission based. So I'm just,
I mean, I'll tell you this. At the end of the day, you have to do what benefits you and your business. You're the steward of your business, right? So a lot of times we get in our own way about, well, am I failing the seller? Or if I withdraw an offer after due diligence, should I no, like this is business. These are the terms of the agreement. Get it on their contract because that's what benefits you. You're acting on your own accord, right? So that's just our model. And sometimes we get people, and the times that I see these difficult sellers that are trying to tell us how we do it, when we do it, all that stuff, they end up being a pain in the butt. And it's not our people, right?
yeah,
It's just not our people. And relying, let me put it this way, I don't want to rely on on an agent that's disorganized or too busy, because if you're missing appointments, it's not only that you're too busy, it's you're disorganized, for me to buy groceries, right? I mean, my business can depend on unreliable people. So I think as a small business, we all have to recognize what's in our realm of control. What's in our realm of control? Negotiate over the phone and get the property under contract. That's what's in our realm of control. And so that's what we do.
Right. So maybe I just need to tighten things up on my requirements with these sellers and these properties a little bit and just be okay with, like you said, maybe 1 in 30 versus 1 in 8 or 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And make sure that the numbers make sense. And that way you sleep well at night. You know, you're like, hey, I mean, and then and you just mentioned you're not really doing novations. We call it equity protection program because the legally how we do it, it's really not a novation. So that's why we call it equity protection. But bottom line is that's probably over 50% of our revenue right now. That's a big piece of the pie that you are, you know, probably not addressing with your SEO leads.
Yeah, we've been just we're about at 50% of our listings and or listing referrals right now too. So we've definitely been feeling that. So it sounds like just a subtle shift in my pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. What we do is literally if you go to the retail versus cash offer and where it shows like, okay, this is what you would net on an ideal realistic scenario. Like, okay, well, our cash offer is like this and it doesn't work. Well, what if we could get you close to that without the hassle? You just got to be listed, you know, anywhere between 90 to 120 days or sooner. We help the buyers. We make sure that everything is taken care of. You don't get screwed, da 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 da. And so the fact is that some people just want more money, and that's okay because you're in a higher price market, so the margins are there.
Yeah.
Like literally, the margins are there. So, are we really gonna say no to 40K by not pitching the equity protection program? No, we should be including that. Like literally, my guys know, like literally, you know, after we go for the low cash offer, then we get them to counter with the equity protection. Always get the seller to sign first. That's how we do it. You know, that's how we do it, because eventually, are you negotiating the leads with the sellers for the most part, or you have some people negotiating for you?
Yeah, I actually just cleaned house and am rebuilding right now. So that's why I wanted to understand what's going on. I had a couple employees and I had to let them go. So
Yeah.
weren't fit.
Yeah. I hear you. So yeah, man. I mean, so in boots on the ground, to try and answer your question, we literally use Handyman. And then in our, you know, in our database, we just keep track of who's in what counties they service, and what do they do, and just keep working through them. They're our handyman. You know, whether it's putting a lockbox, arranging a clean out, that's pretty much the extent of it. I mean, we've had a couple that do like little repairs required by the lenders. Like right now, we got one in Odessa that we're going to do some electrical work. We had one that we had to do some flooring. But as long as you set the expectation with the seller ahead of time, like their goal is to sell at a price and make it easy. That's our people. If they're trying to sell at this much and like get the most out of it, and they want to be that involved, then just do the inspection, update it, rehab it, let us know how it goes, and just list it. In your case, you have that tool belt too in your, you know, in your arsenal. But in, you know, in my case, where we stay wholesale and equity protection side of things, that's pretty much, you know, what we steer them towards. But if they're Googling sell my house fast cash or sell as is and stuff like that, they typically have a timeline that they rather stick with. And we're getting a lot of sellers that are coming back that they listed and didn't get anywhere
Yeah.
because of the market shift. I mean, they're coming back saying, no, I'm terminating with my, you know, I'm terminating with my agent, didn't work out, type of situation. So I don't know. Does that help? Maybe it just gives you a little bit different
It helps
context,
a
I guess.
ton. I've got, yeah, I mean, I've done that too. I have a handyman, just not in every market. So I guess that's what I should do. And I paid them, it was like $65 for a walkthrough plus gas. I don't know if
There you
that's
go. Yeah, it sounds very fair. I mean, you know, again, we contract before getting pictures, before any, we want the contract first. If
Mhm.
if you know, as soon as we know we need to terminate, we're not gonna waste our time. As soon as we find out, no, listen, like in fact, you described the house this way, it's really this way, then you know, at that point we have a conversation. We don't want to waste their time neither. But you know, the handymans, they're your boots on the ground. There's no reason why not leverage them, and that way you're not relying on an agent that's too busy or too disorganized, and then you're um you know, you're looking bad in front of the eyes of the seller. No, he was going to show up at 3 and then come here till 4:30. It was like, oh shit. Well, that report, that lead's gone a-hole versus just go ahead and get it under contract. Listen, this is what we can do for you. Do you really want to talk to 20 other people?
Mhm. Yeah,
You know
makes
what? You know
sense.
what do you want to do? And make peace. Just make peace with the fact that you're not going to get them all. That's okay. Focus on the ones that you are actually working on, and actually bring revenue.
Cool. Sounds good. I
Yeah.
appreciate the
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, no, for sure. And by the one thing I didn't mention, so the coordinator, so we got the acquisition closers. I don't have any like dispo manager. I guess I'm wearing the dispo hat because I approve the purchase price and I approve the sales price. But the coordinator role, which is a virtual assistant, you can get them from, I mean, I pay my guys 950, but out there you can get anywhere between 7 to 950 an hour. And I give him like, you know, a 0.5% bonus. That's something that be bringing over to the university for you guys. Um, they coordinate like everything. They coordinate with the title company, they coordinate with the handyman, they coordinate with the inspection, with the Matterport, with the real estate pictures, with inspectors, with agents. They coordinate everything. So it's not a time suck. That's what I'm saying. Like Dispo is like a time suck.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's
I've
it's
just
it's 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 either a good deal or it's not. So we make the money on the buy, we realize it on the exit. So the sooner, you know, the next hire as a small operator, like you know, like we all are for the most part, it's a coordinator. It's somebody that's coordinating with titles, coordinating with the sellers, coordinating with the possible buyers, the buyers agents, all that stuff. A lot of it can be streamlined.
yeah, I've built the system out and then I had two of them so far in the last 6 months that I've gone through that just overcomplicated everything. So that's what I'm currently looking for next.
Yeah.
So
Cool,
cool,
man.
man.
Well, hopefully that helped out, Jeremy. I appreciate you being an active member of the community.
Yeah, yeah, appreciate you. And I will
Awesome.
get right to work on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we'll bring Rick online. Mr. Rick, let's see. I think I asked to unmute. Let
Okay.
me see. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going there?
Good, good. How you been?
Good. Going crazy.
Awesome. Awesome. So you're in is it Kansas City? Did
Yeah,
I
I'm in
remember that
Kansas
right?
City, Missouri. Correct.
Awesome, awesome. Well, what can we help you with, man?
Well, I've been doing this business for about 20 years. I've flipped and wholesale hundreds of houses, but I've always done it wrong. You know, one thing I've got mastered is working hard, working smart's another thing. So, um, you know, being able to systematize and scale and hire people and do this where I'm not working, you know, 80 hours a week and working, you know, that 2 hours a day, which is the end goal here. So, um, what I've done is I've partnered with a buddy. Maybe that might be a good thing. That might maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll find out. Time will tell. But I want him to run acquisitions and I want to run dispositions. And so we just got started cold calling. And so we hired some cold callers and we got leads coming in. I mean, we got about 10
Okay.
leads coming in. So we're real good
Nice.
as far as the leads. Right now, I've got an old retired buddy of mine that's handling lead management as we try to hire a lead manager. We're a little behind hiring a lead manager to handle those calls and set appointments for a closer. And right now I'm having my business a partner handle the role of closer, and then I'm just basically going to handle TC and dispo. But yeah, it's, you know, we've got our struggles. The leads are coming in. I think I put in there that, you know, our CRM close kit, which is based on high level, is hanging up on our people. So
Hmm.
we're really trying to fight that. That's the biggest problem right now, because that's, it's a real critical thing. Because what we're having to do is turn around and call them on the cell phones, and then we don't have any, don't have any, there's nothing they're tracking it, what's going on. There's no recorded calls, all that kind of stuff. So we're kind of in a desperate situation right now on the CRM.
You're still working through that issue?
Yeah, we're still working through it. Yeah, tech support's looking at it. We're trying to figure out what the heck is going on, and then we'll try to figure it out from there. Our next step, see, we don't do any inbound marketing right now. Right now, we're just doing cold calling. We got four cold callers going full time, and then once we get a lead manager going, we're planning on cranking up the SMS through launch control and feeding those leads into our CRM, and then having our lead manager kind of do a level one assessment of them and try to get them, try to get an appointment set. And try to
what's the play? I mean, you guys are trying to build up a portfolio, like you guys are
no,
pretty much
no.
right?
I'm done flipping houses. I've had it with contractors.
Okay.
No, we want to build a cash machine, a wholesaling cash machine. And one thing I've never done, and I'm just now really starting to learn about it, is actually wholesaling on the MLS. And some people call it concierge program, some people call it protection program. But basically it's, selling it on MLS and having novations as an option, if needed. So even though I've understood novations for a long time, as a realtor here in this market, I've always stayed away from them because wholesaling is gray. Novations are real dark gray. So I guess if you do it properly, you can get away from it. But I was always a little bit of afraid of novations and, it being looked at as a net listing. So didn't want to hit with that big fine. But I guess if I have
I mean, you gotta the legal stuff. Yeah, the legal stuff, you gotta make sure that you're good within your market, right?
Right.
There's a saying in Spanish, preguntando se llega a Roma, which means asking you can get to Rome. So if you ask a way, you'll figure out a way to actually do it. And legislation, markets will shift. There will always be a seller that wants to sell for a discounted price and a buyer that wants to buy for more. If we have to close on it, if we can do equity protection, as long as we get the right paperwork for the attorney or the escrow officer to get it closed, then who cares? So I guess in your situation, I mean, really what I focus is on, helping real estate investors scale to 10 deals plus per month with inbound leads and systems. It sounds like you got lead flow, which is, kind of one of the major steps. It sounds like you're fighting a little bit of an uphill battle right now with the systems piece. Have you guys closed anything, or you guys just started up for the wholesaling?
Yeah, we really just got started up together with this new business venture. I've closed many wholesale deals. But like I said, it's always been, a friend calls or a realtor calls, got a house, and I'll put it under contract, wholesale it to my buyers. And it's never been anything that I've tried to scale or really focus a whole lot of attention or a lot of marketing dollars on. But now that's changing. Now we're actually trying to build a legitimate wholesaling business and hire people so that we can turn it into a cash machine and get our freedom back. We're going to have multiple spokes of marketing. Right now, this is just where we're getting started. But, all those inbound leads that you talk about, with the PPL and PPC and direct mail and all those other marketing strategies that are going to get people calling us, coming to our website, filling in the web form. Those are all things that we want to put into place. It's just, right now that'd be pulling the cart before the horse because
I mean, start with one. You already invested in cold callers, so you're there.
So we have to get people. Biggest challenge right now is just hiring somebody, getting them trained, getting them in place, getting the stuff done. And I would like to have an acquisition manager hired. Shoot, honestly, anytime. In the next month, because we got leads coming in. If we got 50 leads coming in a month, we need an acquisition manager. So,
well, more than an acquisition manager, you need to have an acquisition sales process first. Typically takes about, for my superstars, they might be able to get a good contract in their first month, but that might be like sheer luck. So I would invite you to consider focusing, at least in the university, on the acquisition manager training, seeing if you like that sales process. Everybody does it a little bit different, but the way that we run it is we are doing consultative selling and we're helping the seller qualify for a cash out sale, similar to when you're trying to apply for a mortgage. And that's how I get my acquisition closers to get people to sign first, because they need it signed before they can present it to the underwriter and the funding department, right?
Right.
What I would say is don't try to follow 3 different advices. So if you hear me, tune out RG Bates, tune out Sandler, tune out the other guy. If you decide to go this right, then go this route. Don't try to do everybody's style, because it can just get confusing. So I think it sounds to me that, are you guys going to appointments or all over the phone?
Well, we will if absolutely necessary, and that's why we started here in this market. But the goal here is to run this business 100% virtual. That way, it opens up multiple markets, so we don't have to be worrying about wasting time going out talking to buyers, sellers, and being stood up on appointments and all the things that go with it.
Yeah. So we're, in my case, we're Texas wide. None of us live in Texas. So my entire staff is 100% virtually. So it can be done, right? I'm just trying to show you that it can absolutely be done, whether it's Kansas or, freaking California or Florida or Texas or whatever.
Yeah.
My point being is, I think you and your partner probably need to agree on an acquisition sales process. The dispo and the transaction coordination, that's just paperwork and getting a buyer packet together. So acquisition is the heartbeat of the business. No contracts, no property to move, no inventory to sell, no deals to close.
Yeah.
So based on what I'm hearing, you've got leads coming in. We need to get some contracts out of those leads. These sellers, it's like herding squirrels. They're erratic. It's a very tiny window when they're motivated. And if you're getting these leads, although cold calling, it takes a little bit longer sales cycle. You definitely want to fix the system for the dialing out and then agree on an acquisition sales process. Ours is virtual, so you can definitely dig into it. Bring forward any questions that you have. I will leave you with this. On any marketing channel, you should be getting 6 times return on ad spend minimum. Start tracking your numbers from now. What's your cost per opt-in or cost per lead? What's your cost per contract? What's your cost per closing? Return on ad spend. On a closer should be bringing in when they are ramped up. I'm talking about 5 to 6 months after they started. They should be bringing in 8 times what they cost the company. 8 times if you want to make it scalable.
Okay.
So, if I'm paying you $100,000, you should be bringing the company $800,000 in revenue. Why? Because there's overhead. There's deals that fall through. There's shit that goes wrong. So my closers, when I ramp them up, I want to say by the 3rd month, they should be closing a deal and they should be at 6 times return on investment. There's going to be good months. There's going to be bad months. There's going to be awesome months. Whenever they drop below 6, I start auditing them heavily. I want to see them at 8. They're not always going to stay above 8 throughout the months, but for the span of the year, they should be at 8. If you take the last 12 months, they should have brought in closed deals 8 times. They should be making at least 70 calls a day and at least 2 hours talk time.
Okay, so you really don't have a lead manager, then you just have the closers call the leads, or actually you have incoming calls, so they just go straight to the
lead opt-ins. But yeah, my closers, they are accountable for calling the leads in less than 5 minutes. Coordinators, in less than 5 minutes. My coordinators, if for some reason they see, so I've got my closers and my coordinators, that's it. And if my closers if a lead comes in and my closers have not called it, my coordinators are supposed to call them on the 4th minute.
Wow.
And I'm keeping track of, I've got a little graph that I'm watching. And whenever I see that they're taking longer to call, I see that the appointments go down.
Right. I see that too. And we're having these because when we first started getting these leads in, and I was calling them as a lead manager, I was getting a hold of them, but I was calling them immediately. And then we started having these technical issues, and I brought my friend in to handle that role. And now we're taking 2 days, 3 days to get back to them. And now the phone's just ringing. You know what I mean? It's like we're wasting our money on these leads because we're not able to get back to them right away. I like that. Call them back within 5 minutes. I need to implement that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you always have, and it's what I tell the guys, it's not to frustrate them or frustrate yourself. It's just to know where you're at, because there is a balance of too many leads. So like, if my guys are not making 70 calls and they don't have 2 hours of talk time per day, I'm like, do you not have leads, or are you being lazy?
Yes, correct.
Or are you jumping to price and ending the call too fast?
Right.
So these are all symptoms, right? So when my guy's conversion goes down, it's you're talking too much. This is me talking to the closers. If your
Yep.
conversions go down, you're talking too much. You need to shut up, ask questions, talk less. You're jumping to price. You're not digging into the pain. No pain, no sale. So if you're doing one of those two, your conversions are going to go down.
Right.
So that's why, or you're just not making enough calls.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a numbers game, and yeah, I've got to really beat on my business partner a little bit because he's making too many excuses right now and making the phone calls. And I just told him, I said, John, you just got to make the calls. You just got to do it. Don't make
Oh yeah,
just do it. You're not going to close them all. You're going to get better every time you make a phone call. Just do it. Just be like Nike. Just do it.
you
You're
have,
not
yeah,
going to close everything.
yeah, blindly. Like it has to be robotic. You have to leave your emotions aside. You can't take this negativity or whenever they say no. This is why it's hard. It's easier to have a 10 contract a month business than it is a 1, 2, or 3 contracts or even 5 contracts a month. The sooner you can get to 3 closers and 2 coordinators, the sooner you will buy your time back.
I
And I
like
mean that
yeah.
I mean that from the heart. The sooner you can get to 3 closers, because there's always going to be a closer that's sick. There's always going to be a closer that has some sort of family emergency or whatever. But the sooner you get 3 closers and 2 coordinators, you can run this in 2 hour per day, just checking in, auditing calls, verifying that approving contracts, maybe stepping in for emergency stuff.
Yeah,
So,
we need to
that's the
get there.
goal.
Yeah. Where do you hire your closers, TCs?
Yeah, typically through Upwork. I mean, it is a process. It's not super easy. That's something that I'll bring in kind of hopefully maybe a little bit more turnkey. The issue with hiring people too soon is you still need to coach them. So you need to
Right.
be able to do it on your own. That's why it goes back in your case from what I see, defining your acquisition sales process.
Okay.
You need that to be ABC. No reinventing the wheel. If you go to
Gotcha.
my blog post, there's a blog post. If you go to WiFiFlips.com/blog, there's a blog post there around auditing your acquisition closers, and it shows you like the 8 points that we audit on our closers, and it's pretty much aligned with our Bentley script. So
Okay.
that's pretty much what I say. What else? Did that help?
It helped a lot. It really did. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to learn how to build this foundation. I've got a building, it just has no foundation. So trying to figure out how to build this foundation so we can, put some more stories on it, for a terrible analogy.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to
it's
do.
leads, sales, systems. Actually, I'm gonna do a webinar, on this, but it's either leads, so you got leads.
Got leads.
So sales, what is your sales process? You need
Yes.
to be able to recite it. You need to print out whatever your script is. You need to be able to make love to it.
Yeah.
Bring it to bed, bring it to shower. Just like you need to be able to come back to it and know exactly where you're at. So sales process and then systems. Right now you got leads. I'm sensing that there's a gap in your sales and in your systems, right? But at least you know what needs to be worked on. Because after you have those three, then you can actually build from there.
Okay. Yeah, that's you. I mean, you nailed it. You've got us pegged 100%. We got the leads coming in, but our sales process and our systems both definitely need work. Our systems are close. I just, we're at like, if we don't get this fixed, we're going to switch to RE Simply. And I look at RE Simply and I know it's a great software program, but you almost have to have an engineering degree to get in and out of there. So
yeah, I mean, I've heard good things about it. Almost all of the CRM. So our AM machine CRM is not ready yet. It is GHL based.
yeah.
We haven't had that issue. So I'm kind of surprised that you guys are having that issue. I would say before you give up, try to make sure that you've exhausted every option with their support team and stuff like that. But there's a lot of GHL based CRMs that are just snapshots thrown around, and they're not really, I don't know, battle tested by an actual operator. It would be my my situation there. But yeah, hopefully that gets fixed, because I mean, without calls, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's made it very challenging and frustrating, to say the least, because we're spending a lot of money on these leads. And I know JHL is a good solid system because there's thousands of CRMs that are built on that platform. So I know there's got to be something internal. I don't know, maybe we just change a phone number. I don't know, but we have tech support looking at it. We don't have any answers yet, but I sure hope that we can get that fixed, and fix like last week. So
for sure, man, for sure. Well,
then,
guys, I'll wrap it up here. Appreciate y'all's time. If you haven't, please make an introduction in the community there. Rick, anything else you want to discuss before we hop off?
No, I just want to say, hey, I'm looking forward to working with you, and thank you. I appreciate it. I've been kind of following you a little bit here for a couple of years. So I'm kind of excited to have this conversation, have a chance to learn a little bit from you, because you're where we want to be. There's no doubt about it.
I can only share what I'm doing, man. So I appreciate y'all, and hopefully the community stays active, and we help you out in your journey. Appreciate y'all's time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.